Hey, we're a little bit of technical difficulty there. I don't understand what still having some issues when it comes to this. But we're back here. We're gonna sort of move on to um last night's game. Uh Rams Cardinals. Was that just a flat out miscue on the Cardinals and inexperience, or was this just what we could see the potential of Sean McVay with an actual legitimate quarterback?
I think, I mean, it's a legitimate quarterback. You put Stafford on that team. I know we all picked Green Bay and to make the Super Bowl and win, but after what I saw this weekend, I don't know how the Rams aren't favored to win out of the NFC. They're just unstoppable. They have way too many weapons on offense, and their defense is really good. But I honestly think they're the most loaded offense in the playoffs right now, and especially because they went out and got Stafford. It just makes them almost unstoppable now.
I think Stafford helps. I mean,
I think-
Stafford's a whole other caliber quarterback than what they had with Goff.
In golf,
And I think what we seen last night is what the Rams offense was missing.
yeah, I don't think it's a fluke. I think
Cam Akers being back gives that
Oh, God,
Rams
yeah.
offense another
Exactly.
dimension.
Yeah.
It literally gives them an actual threat.
If they had him through the season, I bet they lose a game. That's it. Maybe two. Cam is that dynamic. He gives their offense so much more.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It does. It does give him. I think it brings a whole other dimension. to the-
Absolutely. And not only that, he helps in the pass game because he's a pass catching running back. So he not only is the dynamic of the run game, but now you got to account for him out of the pass game. So it's hard. You got Odell, you got Cooper Kupp, you got why did I just drew a blank? Tight end Higbee.
Yeah.
Higbee. You got Cam Akers coming out of the backfield. You still have Vance coming out on the slot. I mean, how do you match up across the board with those guys?
I mean, I agree. I think that offense is going to be really hard to defend completely. The weapons they have. The only thing that I question is Stafford.
I knew you were going to say that, and I was already thinking the same
His
thing.
ability to be consistent.
Right.
The only thing that's going to help is I think McVay kind of took the pressure off him. Yesterday, he didn't throw up any spectacular stats. You know, he didn't do nothing over, crazy. He did what he had to win.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a quarterback does. You do what you got to. You do enough to win the game.
Right.
And that's what he did. He did enough to help win the game. That Rams defense, though, was so. I mean, that defense. I think that's the best I've seen that defensive play all year. And the way that they play, I think if they play like that when they play Tampa, I see Tampa falling. I see Tampa losing that game. I mean, if that defense can get to Brady like they did Murray, I think it's done.
I think the real question. I'm almost starting to think that that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a non-factor at this point, just because of how depleted they are. They're going to run into the Rams, and it's going to be a task.
Defensively, I mean, Tampa's pretty. I mean, they're pretty healthy.
Well, no, I said that their defense is still there. It's their offense that is.
Their offense where they're losing Brown obviously, and then Godwin was a big hit, and Fournette. But I think Fournette's going to be back Sunday, isn't he?
I still don't think he's a factor. I just don't think Fournette's a factor, even if he's back. I don't. I can't see him being a huge factor.
I don't know. I think if Fournette, I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be back Sunday, but if he is back, I think there is a factor because now you got a really good back out there that can catch out of the backfield. He can run the ball. I think it's a whole different factor. Do you know for sure if Fournette's going to be? He's supposed to be back this week, isn't he?
They said he was a game. I'm pretty sure they said game time.
I think Cam is more of a factor than Leonard Fournette is.
No argument, but I still think Fournette brings.
But that's it. That's their offense. Mike Evans, Gronk, and then Fournette. That's it. That's their offense.
But it will take pressure off Brady.
Of course it'll take some pressure off him.
Run. I mean, Ronald Jones was out too, so they didn't even have
But now
a running back. I think both of them are looking to come back.
I don't see those backs running through the Rams defense.
No, and it's a hamstring for Leonard Fournette.
Which means he's going to be nursing still.
Yeah, he's not going to be 100%.
He's not going to be
healthy.
100%.
Yeah.
So they're probably throwing him out there because he's good enough to go, but he's not 100%. That's not going to help you.
That same argument you made for Henry for Tennessee, though.
No. I said about changing their offense around. He's back fully healthy. I was just talking about they've been passing the ball. They've been winning with that. Now you want to change the philosophy, and then the argument was, well, that's what they were doing before, so it's easy to go back to. Fournette's going to be in the game, but still injured.
Bobby did say he's hamstring game time decision, so wait till, just for the game, I'm sure.
But I'm just saying that Tampa, I feel as of now, they got past the Eagles. Congratulations. You killed a shitty team. Now you're going to face the big boys, and I feel they're going to whoop your ass.
What is I'm not sure. What is Tampa's record this year against winning record teams?
I don't know. It's probably better than what we think. They went 12-4, so it ain't like they lost a lot of games. So I imagine it's above.
But remember, they lost pieces towards the end of the season where
with the Rams though, and Bobby Compton would know. With the Rams though, it's still going to be that same. What Matt Stafford are you going to get?
He said that.
So that's what he said. That's the same thing. The inconsistency he has, but the same argument. I told Mooney this was McVay kind of took the game out of Stafford's hands. Said, "Hey, you do enough to help us win. Let us take care of the rest." And that's pretty much what happened. I mean, if you look at his stats and what he did, it was like 13 of I can't remember. I know he didn't have that many attempts, like 20 attempts or something like that. For 178 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, they used him perfectly.
Yeah, I mean they did. He did enough to win the game, and I feel like that's great. If they do that the rest of the playoffs, and rely on that defense and rely on more of a running game, that's going to be a tough team to beat.
I mean, Dennis is talking here about Matthew Stafford's football IQ is going to help him. I think personally.
No, he said Tom's, not Matt.
Oh, did he say Tom? I thought I read that wrong. I thought he said Matt. I think Cam back, it's going to help Stafford to not put the game on him to make the mistakes because they can just rely on Cam Akers, and Cam is just a beast. So even if they start to shut the run down, you go back to Matt Stafford. If Matt's playing bad, keep handing it off to Cam Akers.
But going against the Bucs though is going to be hard because they have one of the best run defenses in football. So this game, I think,
but like you just said, the Eagles ran through Tampa's defense. If Jalen would have played better, they'd have beat him. So the Eagles could run through him. Cam Akers ain't gonna have a problem.
That is a good point from Dennis, though. Tom Brady's football IQ level, he has one with less talent than what he has right now.
Yeah, that's no. I thought he said Stafford, but yeah, it's true.
That he makes a valid point.
He's won with less talent. He's won Super Bowls with less talent than he has now.
As far as offensively,
when.
Name
when
what other team other than Randy Moss? What other New England offense had a better receiver than Mike Evans?
And they didn't even win a Super Bowl with Randy Moss.
Yeah, but my point is he won Super Bowls with less talent receiver.
I agree because he did with the whole when he won with Troy Brown. Brown.
He's won with Wes Welker and Julian Edelman.
But we're not saying every one of his wins.
One of the Super Bowls he won with Troy Brown was his number one receiver.
He's never won a Super Bowl with a defense that's out of the top 10.
That's not what we're arguing. Offense. We're arguing the fact that Tom Brady's had less weapons on offense and they were so capable of winning. Right.
So you're saying Mike Evans is that much better than Wes Welker and Julian Edelman?
You're taking it every team. We're not saying every team. We're saying there's time.
Super Bowl. There's time. No, I'm saying Super Bowl or playoff victories.
He said that he's playing with less talent now than what he has before.
No, he said he's won with less talent.
Oh, then what's with Tampa? Okay.
He hasn't.
Now I'm understanding.
But you're saying Deion Branch was better than Mike Evans?
No, I'm saying their number one option. You have to take their number one option against number one option. Rob Gronkowski was on these teams already. So Rob has always been there.
Not when Deion Branch was there.
Yeah, not when Deion Branch and Troy Brown were there.
And Wes Welker wasn't there when Deion Branch was there.
No. We're talking
Deion Branch at one point in time was Tom Brady's number one pick.
Number one. And he was and he's not
Mike Evans is a better receiver than Deion Branch. Hands down.
That's true.
Hands down.
I will agree with that.
Okay, so that was the time that time Tom Brady had less talent on that New England offense than what he has now.
Look at the beast of the running back he had at that time.
Yes, you're right.
That's the different factor.
Corey Dillon.
Yeah.
But he still got Leonard Fournette's nothing to be Just say, I mean, he's still a good running back.
He's decent running back. Yeah, I'm going to say that, but I'm going to put Dillon above him. But I will agree with you. I'm going to put Mike Evans also above Deion Branch at that time. And we're talking early 2000. This is like one of their first one or
I'm
two
not mistaken,
wins.
Wasn't Dante Stallworth with him for a while too, wasn't he?
A year.
About that
I
same
think.
time, I think. But he. Was
I don't remember
somebody.
when he was there, but he was a non-factor. He was not that good at that time. He was.
But
on his
I
way
do
out.
agree. I mean, I do agree with Mike that Wes Welker, I feel was a better. I don't know. That's a tough one there with Evans and him. That's a tough one there. Tight end wise, I think Gronk's probably the best tight end he's ever had.
Well, yeah. I don't think that's
hands
an
down
argument.
Best tight end
That's
he's ever had.
But is Wes Welker better than Mike Evans?
What do you mean?
At his at the slot receiver position, yes, but to be an actual on the outside receiver, I don't know. I think Evans is a deeper threat than Welker.
Is he?
I think so. I mean, what do you think?
Is Evans a better receiver than Wes Welker?
He's a number one. I mean, a lot of people probably say he would be. But at the same time, it just depends on what you like.
I think it depends where you're lining them up at.
I don't think so. I'm just asking receiver. They're both receivers.
I think as a
Who's
slot
better?
receiver, I think Wes Welker
It depends what you like because
beats
you're not.
Evans every time.
Yeah, because if you line Wes Welker out on the outside, he's not going to be able to do what Mike Evans does.
Yeah.
But if you line Wes Welker up on the inside and you line Mike Evans up on the inside, he's not doing what Wes Welker does.
So who's a better receiver? All around.
It's a toss up. It's like I said, it just depends on what you like.
I think you got talent there either way. They're
Yeah.
both very talented at what they do, and I think that's a hard one to say.
So you think they can?
I think a shout out to Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah. So you.
Oh.
So my theory on this is: has Tom Brady won with less talent? Yes. So we will. Yes, offensively less talent.
Yes.
But they didn't win because of Tom Brady. That's my argument with. That's where it's laughable that we're even going to bring up his Super Bowl victories and say, well, these are because Tom Brady.
They're not.
They're not because of him at all. So in order for him to win a Super Bowl this year, it's going to have to be because of Tom Brady.
Matter of fact, we go back to that.
That's my thing with that is when I say that is back in the early 2000s when he was winning them, they weren't winning them because of Tom Brady. I mean, literally his first Super Bowl, they benched him.
I think
in the AFC Championship game, he was benched. They don't even make the Super Bowl if they don't bench him.
what is his first or second Super Bowl is one of the worst Super Bowl performances by a quarterback, or at least in the top 10. I believe maybe the top 5. Like, it was horrible. It was horrendous play, and they still won. Defense, run game.
I posted this to our group chat we had. A percentage of career playoff wins without having a top 10 defense. Mahomes, 100% of his wins have came without having a top 10 ranked defense. Peyton Manning, 78.6% of the time he won a playoff game was without having a top 10 ranked defense. Breeze, 77.8% of the time he did not have a top ranked defense. Rodgers was at 54.5. Brady was 11.8%. So 11.8% of his wins came off of 11.8%.
That he didn't have a top 10
that he didn't have. Every other
so
time,
most of his time, he had a top 10 defense.
10 ranked defense.
Right. It shows you right there in the stats alone.
And
we're not taking nothing away from Tom Brady.
No,
all.
I don't want people to get it twisted out there that that's what we're doing. We're not.
We have a couple other things to sort of go over here. I want to touch base on the Oakland-Cincinnati game. We've had heated debates over the last 3 days over this game and this we call it Oakland fans are saying they were robbed. I don't think they were technically robbed. But they were handed a free 7 points. No matter how we want to look at it, that's been the argument is do people believe that they were handed a free 7 points or did they or are we not talking about this 7 points? I mean, that's the thing is I feel they were. I feel that it should have been replayed. Do they stop the Bengals? We don't know.
Timeout. Before we get to there, we do have to touch on this because we got on this in our group chat, and Brent happened to say the same thing here that we had debated numerous times.
Oh
before
man,
this.
yes. So we have debated on what Brent says took less money. Prove to me where Tom Brady took less money. Someone prove this to me. We've looked this up numerous times. You can go back and you can look up top paid quarterbacks per year since 2000. Tom Brady sits at that 2 or 3 spot every single time.
Let me go ahead and touch in on this. Since I pulled it up when this conversation came up a while ago.
Yeah, this was months ago. This was 6-7 months ago too.
And this debate was going around. So I pulled up the contract. Tom Brady would get a contract, ride it out for 2 years, maybe 3, and then they would restructure the contract. So then it would take the overall down, and then the next year he'd make a shit ton of money. Why? Signing bonuses. Then he also was incentives. He'd do this for another 2-3 years. There was a couple times where he only did it for like 2 years, and then they restructured his contract. So throughout his entire time with the New England Patriots, he kept restructuring his contract to help the team out for that year. But then it benefited him the next year when he was one of the highest paid quarterbacks, if not the highest paid quarterback in the league that year. So Tom Brady did not take a discount.
No, he's just taking signing bonuses. He's
Exactly.
getting his money up front.
He's helping the team out by
Yes.
saying, okay,
Well,
take a little off my base, put it on a signing bonus, but then the next year,
Not just
I get my money.
Not
And
just,
he did.
Not just signing bonuses. He got incentives too.
No, I said that.
He has so much
Yeah, he
money
gets
for winning the Super
incentives,
Bowl,
too.
so much in playoffs.
Playoffs.
And-
Yeah, he got his
passing
money.
yards, he got his money.
He
did
gotta
not
make
take
it-
a fucking discount just to help the Patriots win Super Bowls. No, he wanted his money. He got his money. So, Brent, you're wrong. Go ahead and look up the contracts because he literally did not take a pay cut. He just moved the money around to help him out year
all
to
the
year.
contracts he signed were right there towards the top of what they should have been for
Highest paid
top-rated,
quarterbacks at
highest
the
paid
time.
quarterbacks.
Yes.
Maybe it was $1 million difference here or there,
Right.
but he was still right there.
Right.
And it you know, they want to look at it as, well, he took all these pay cuts. He took someone still has to explain to me where he took a pay cut. Just because you say, hey, the teams are going to run into it. They do it every single year. They take their star players. They restructure these deals.
And Isaac, you're correct. Signing bonuses does not go against salary.
Yeah, they do not go. So
Right,
these
right,
players are saying,
right.
yes, I'll restructure, but you still owe me $19 million. If you want me to go to $8 million, where am I getting my other 10?
Right.
Because this game's not guaranteed to me
So,
tomorrow.
Tom, you restructure the contract with us this year. Okay, it's going to help us out. We can go get this guy and this guy and this guy. Next year, you break the bank. All right, cool. Give me that bonus next year.
No,
then-
he gets it at that same time when they
He gets
restructure
partial some of it, yes. Because
No,
I
they'll-
looked up these contracts where he's getting like $8 million, $9 million, and then the next year he's getting like $14 million, $16 million, and a signing bonus. So they're moving some of this money around to the next
they're
year.
backloading
He's getting
that,
his
yeah.
bonus that year,
Yeah.
but they're also moving it to the next year to help them out too.
Yeah, they're backloading these contracts.
Exactly.
Which a lot
That's
of
exactly
NFL,
what they're doing.
A lot of NFL teams backload about every star players. That's why when you see them towards the end of their contract, they're making the most money.
Right.
Because they've done restructured
Right.
this thing so many different times, and all their money is going to come to them at some point.
With that said, I will say that Tom was a team player by restructuring his
Well,
contract
name
to
a
help
quarter-
out.
wait a minute,
but
though,
then
but
he was getting paid on the back
Name a
end.
quarterback that hasn't restructured their deals to help.
Right.
Every one of them does it.
Right.
Every star player,
Manning has, Rodgers has.
they all
Roethlisberger
restructure.
has,
Every
yeah.
single one of them.
Mahomes
restructured.
just signed a $500 million contract, and the next year he restructured
He
it
restructured right away.
because he knew he had to help the team.
Yeah.
So they're going to help your team, but still give me my money.
And a lot of these deals are signed at the very beginning with writing in there for restructuring.
Right.
So they
Right,
don't. It
set
ain't
up
like
that
that.
way.
It ain't like that. They're like, oh, well, we got to go in here and completely change everything. No,
Right.
they knew there was
No.
a possibility the following year we're going to have to restructure him $10 million.
Right.
So let's go ahead and make it to where we're not financially capped 2 years from now, to where this doesn't technically bite us in the ass.
And that's probably why you would see Tom Brady do this, and then 2-3 years go by and he restructured again. They already knew
Now, listen,
2-3 years
we
down the road
all
they're going to
know-
do it again.
We all know Tom Brady is great. He's arguably the GOAT. There's really no argument against him when it comes to he has the stats. He has the championships. He has what he has. At some point, this dude's not perfect. He was accused of cheating twice. But yet, Brady backers don't want to. It gets me on a rant right now. I'm going to rant a little bit because everybody says LeBron James is a flopper. This is what LeBron does. He's a flopper. He's a flopper. Oh, he does everything
Come
bad.
on, my guy.
You got to hear it out. He does everything bad. Everything. But yet, Tom Brady can do no bad. Everybody wants to push away his 3 losses to mediocre football teams. He wants to a backup quarterback. He did lose to Nick Foles as a backup quarterback. He also has been caught for cheating, destroys phones, and yet everybody believes, well, Tom Brady is God.
Phones, you mean tablets?
No, he
No, he
destroyed,
destroyed
his
his
phone.
phone.
He destroyed his
Yeah,
phone.
he destroyed his
When,
phone.
in,
Oh, that's
when,
right,
in the lie gate, the deflate gate, he destroyed his phone so no one knew what he was talking about or what he was texting. Why? And then people want to back him. Well, I mean, you don't necessarily know. No, dude, why else do you destroy a phone?
I'll tell you what pisses me off more than anything about a Patriots fan is that they can't admit that the first 2, maybe 3 Super Bowls were not Tom Brady. If
They
you
never
don't
will.
have Adam Vinatieri, you're not winning games.
You don't
if
have
you
a
don't have
defense.
that defense, you're not winning games.
You don't have Drew Bledsoe.
If you don't have
Drew Bledsoe, you're not in the first Super Bowl.
exactly, because without him after Brady getting benched, you're not making it. But they don't want to look at that. They want to look at Tom's got
No,
got
dude,
6 with the Patriots.
LeBron.
That's it.
No,
Like,
LeBron had D Wade.
Yep.
Okay,
No, yeah,
Chris Bosh.
Right.
That's what he had.
Yeah.
Because people will let you know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they all want to say Michael Jordan never needed this help. Michael Jordan was the one who wanted Dennis Rodman. Scottie Pippen didn't want Dennis Rodman. Scottie Pippen wanted nothing to do with Dennis Rodman. Michael Jordan said, "I don't like the guy,
But he can help us
But he can
win.
help us win. So get his ass here and Phil figure it out." That's what he said. Phil, you figure it out.
And I'll always go back. Pippen was not drafted by the Bulls.
Yeah,
He was drafted by Portland. Phil said, we need that guy.
Yeah, we need that guy. Go get that guy.
Go get him. So we
He's
went
a
and got
menace.
him.
Go get him.
So-
So the narrative is retarded. And then everybody wants to say, well, Michael Jordan, I mean, look at the teams he faced when he got bounced in the first round. Yes, but nobody wants to say, well, LeBron James got beat by arguably one of the best dynasties of all time twice. The Spurs.
No, they just want
the
to talk
Warriors.
about he melted
He
down.
melted.
He melted
He
down.
melted in
That's it.
2011. Like
Right.
Tom Brady didn't melt against
This is
melt against the Eagles when he lost to a
Or the-
backup
or the
quarterback.
Giants.
Now,
twice.
This is a good comment. Said Bledsoe is just another Stafford.
Who said that?
Bobby.
That I mean that you can say what you want on that part. He still went in there and won them the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
No matter how you want to look at it, Tom Brady got benched. He got benched.
There's only one.
And Tom Brady, and let's go a little further into this, New England fans. Tom Brady damn near didn't even make the team. He almost got cut from the team. Belichick is the one who single-handedly said, nope, I want that guy, I'm keeping him.
But-
he almost didn't even make the
that's
roster.
kind of irrelevant because he did, and he did what he did. So
No, it's still relevant. It's because I'm saying these guys are saying he's the GOAT from day one. I've heard people say that out of their mouths from day
He
one.
didn't become
And
Tom Brady
he did-
until about 8 years into his career.
Yeah, like
that's when Tom Brady
2007,
became.
2008.
That's when Tom Brady became Tom Brady.
Right.
there's only one Super Bowl that I can give Brady some credit for winning, and that was when they came back against Atlanta.
Well, you can go ahead and give him the credit all you want.
I think he played a big part in it to bring him back to win that because they were down pretty big at halftime, and New England's defense also stepped up.
Dan Quinn being fired says why that game was where that game went. No team has ever come back from 28
Yeah,
down,
you're right.
25, whatever it was, 25 or 28, and Dan Quinn was fired right after the 0-5 start the following year.
Right.
So
The game I'll give you that I give him credit for, and I know it's controversial because they'll say you should have ran Marshawn Lynch to the one, and they should have.
Oh,
And the Seahawks would have won that. But Tom did play his game and got him to there. It was their defense that was letting it up down the field. But then they ended up making the play and intercepted the ball. That's the only Super Bowl I'm going to hang on Tom to say, you really did that.
Brady fans will never come out and say it was luck.
Oh, it was completely lucky.
Again,
I mean,
no,
luck-
that was another bad play call.
Yeah,
It was
you
because
have
you
one of
won
the best-
Marshawn Lynch.
one of the best
You
running
get in
backs
there.
you ever
But on the
They're
Patriots
winning
side
the
of the
Super
ball,
Bowl.
it's lucky
Yeah.
that Pete Carroll had a mental lapse and was like, I'm not going to run beast
No,
mode.
right.
Yeah,
I'm going to pass it.
You have one of the toughest running backs in the league. You're going to pass the ball
I'm going to throw the ball.
at the goal line.
That's like saying, hey, last play of the game, we're going to run Dak on a quarterback option.
I knew it was coming.
It wasn't a quarterback option. It was a draw.
Either way, draw option. He ran the
I
ball.
wish he would have had the
It was
option. He
bad.
could have pitched it. Maybe that guy could have ran out of bounds.
Okay, go back to what we originally came from the Oakland Cincinnati game. I want to clarify something. Yesterday
Tom Brady.
when we got in that big debate yesterday. I do think the play call should have been if it's a rule, you abide by the rule. With what I disagree with is how it's said is that they were given 7 points. The reason why I disagree with that is because Cincinnati earned the touchdown. They did what they were supposed to. Now, if someone wanted to say they were given the touchdown, is if one of the Cincinnati players' offensive pass interference, they pushed the guy around and they got the touchdown. Okay, that guy should have been called. Okay, the team made the mistake. This is where the argument came in, where I feel like it was the way everybody was presenting it was wrong in a way because the touchdown wasn't given to them. They earned the touchdown, but because of a dumb ref, which refs been awful all playoffs, they lose the touchdown. Now, if Cincinnati would have been Cincinnati offensive player did an offensive pass interference, or there was a penalty that should have negated the touchdown, and the refs give it to him, perfectly fine to say the touchdown was given to them.
But there was a penalty that negated the touchdown.
No, there wasn't a penalty. There was no penalty that negated that. It was an errant whistle.
But it's a rule.
But it's
Penalties
not.
are rules.
But it's not a penalty. A penalty is when there's
But there's still something happened to negate that touchdown.
But I'm saying that my point is it should be, I guess, worded differently to say that they were given. No, they earned the touchdown. It's just some dumb ref got too damn excited about blowing his whistle.
And that's Brent. You said it, and we said it. You started it off by saying the same thing. Brent saying no touchdown, replay, which is the rule.
Yeah.
Which is
So let me clarify, because I'm the one that said it, and I want to say this again. When I said they got given a touchdown, yeah, they still threw the pass. He still caught it in the end zone. I get that. I get all that. What I'm saying is given is because something happened on the field that negated the touchdown for them to have to replay the down.
And
so instead of replaying the down, they gave him the touchdown. That's what I mean by gave him a touchdown. They literally just gave it to him because they were like, here's the rules. Touchdown. Wait a second. Well, there's a rule for a reason, people. But they didn't want to follow it for some reason. So that's why I'm saying they got given it to him. I understand they caught it, but they still shouldn't have got it.
Yeah,
so it got given to them. That's what I meant.
And it's not taking nothing away from Cincinnati.
No, and
I think
I'm
they
not. That's the
ultimately
thing, yeah.
still win that game. But that was just the most controversial play that I feel changes the whole aspect of the second half. The whole entire game plan for both teams is now shifted a different way because everybody has game plans for however many points they're up. So to say that since he was going to, I think they were up 10 or 13 points going into halftime.
20-6 at halftime.
So they're coming in saying, listen, we got a 14-point lead. We're going to hold that 14-point lead. So we're going to run some clock. We're not going to throw as much this time. So a lot of things, which ultimately I think is why Cincinnati didn't score a whole lot more because they were throwing all over them in the first half.
They came out the second half and didn't do.
It was a totally different game plan.
It was completely different than what they started off with. I personally think they should have kept passing. They should have kept going.
They should have. They should have. But being their first playoff series, they sort of went
conservative.
Let's make sure we get the win.
Let's not put too much on Burrow, I think is what it was too. But I think with him, you got a different caliber of quarterback when it comes to that. Because of winning the national championship game and being the games he's been in, kind of prepared him a little bit. Don't get me wrong. I know the Super Bowl is a completely different ball game, but I think he's not going to be the nervous quarterback that's never been in that situation.
Well, that leads us up to something that I want to talk about.
Before you go on to that, that's why I was going to say that's why I like Belichick, because Belichick's the kind of coach that he slits your throat and then he cuts your head all the way off. He doesn't most of the time let up. How many times have we heard teams bitch in the media about Bill running the score up on him? They did it to Washington just last year or the year before when he dropped like 50-some points on them. They didn't stop. That's my kind of football. If you can't stop me, that's not my fault. I'm not going to play conservative football for you to catch back up in the game.
I agree.
I'm going to put my foot on your throat and I'm going to smash it.
But at the same
that's
time,
what I like.
I think it's a lot of.
I agree, Bobby. He'll be a future stud. I agree.
High risk. It's a high risk, high reward type of mentality to have because if you go out there still throwing and you cost yourself the lead because you throw the ball too much.
Well,
there's going to be things coming down on your head, especially.
You change as it goes, but if they haven't been able to stop your pass, go out throwing the ball.
Well,
if they start to slow it down, go run the ball.
I don't think it's so much they're trying to run the score up. I think they know that anything can shift in the NFL.
Right,
you can be up 28 points and momentum shift, and this team done beat you 35-28 because they came back.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, we've seen that. Where the first half, the team came out, just lit it up, and came out the second half and didn't do shit and got beat.
I'm not specifying on run the score up. What I'm saying is whatever's working, keep going with it. If it keeps scoring your touchdowns, keep doing it.
Right,
and then if they show that they can slow you down, switch. Go to the run game. That's what I'm saying. Don't go play conservative ball.
And also, it's a first for Zach Taylor, too. You know, for a young coach to be where he's at. He still, I think he kind of backed off, did what you said. Well, we're winning. Let's just maintain that lead. And just get out here and win.
Let's get out of here with the W.
I think that's the kind of coach he is anyway. I mean, throughout the year, have you ever seen him do that? Not really. Once they get the lead, then they go play conservative. Let's just get the clock ran out. Let's just ran the ball. Zach.
No, that's not true because he did not do that against Baltimore when they played Baltimore when they were up 41 to 17 or something. They didn't let up that whole game. And I think
he got conservative because of the playoffs.
Yeah, I do
he
too.
wanted to get
I
that
think-
monkey off his back.
I think he just wanted to get that first playoff win,
Mm-hmm.
go home with the victory, and we'll come out next week and we'll play again.
So it leads to something. I want to see if we can fire this group up. What do we got here? 8 to 10 people. Let's fire this group up a bit. I want to see what reactions
Bobby
we
butthole
get.
got tight.
I made a statement. I made a TikTok video here, I don't know, maybe a week ago. And I wholeheartedly believe this because of the way, hear me out for the first part of this, because of the way the NFL has changed and it's become a passing league. And I don't think that really slows down anytime soon because of the rule changes. So it's going to favor the quarterback position for years to come, even more than what it does now. I put on there that I believe Burrow, Herbert, and Mahomes, by the time they're done playing, will have better careers than Brady, Breeze, and Manning.
I'll agree with that, and I'll tell you why. You look at the beginning of those guys' careers, they weren't throwing almost 5,000 yards their second season in. I think Burrow, Herbert, and Mahomes are going to be a high 4,000, 5,000 yard passers year in, year out.
I think they have more combined Super Bowls by the end of their career, too.
Very possible, yes. I think the way they have, I agree with that as long as the teams build around them. Cincinnati is notorious for ripping apart what's around them and then they coming back out next year and failing. If they continue to build around what they have, Cincinnati can be successful. You look at Kansas City, they're doing it. They're building around Mahomes, trying to make him, that's why they're consistently winning every year. You look at Herbert with the Chargers. I think they've gotten a little better. Last year he threw for, how many yards he threw last year?
He threw over 4,000.
Over 4,000.
And he threw 4,000 more this year.
Yeah, he threw for, so you don't see that. This league is predominantly such a big passing league now. Back when Manning and Brady and Breeze all started out, the league wasn't a big passing. We were still a big
Run
rushing
first,
league.
yes.
Yeah. So I think now that we're that pass first league, I think those three have, and not just those three. I'll tell you another one. Josh Allen could be put in that list. I feel like Josh Allen, if he keeps performing the way he is, he has potential to be one of the greats if he keeps playing like this.
Can Derek Carr?
No.
Matt Stafford?
Matt Stafford could. I think Matt Stafford pushes the passing yards record. As long as Brady doesn't continue to play 2 or 3 more years where he makes it almost unreachable.
Well,
because
that's
seeing
only
someone play till 45, 46 years old, Matt Stafford's not playing till 45, 46 years old. He's just not doing
Brent
it.
said way too early to call him that, and Bobby doesn't think Mahomes. Oh, yeah, Bobby doesn't think Mahomes.
Oh, the only thing is this is where I compare them at. Mahomes is Brady. He's a more athletic Brady, but to start his career, he's had almost the same exact success as Brady when it comes to Super Bowl appearances and Super Bowl wins. But yet he has that MVP. He has that MVP nod on him because I don't think Brady won an MVP till what? He got Randy Moss. Is that when he won his first one? He didn't win one early. I don't believe.
I know he's a 3-time MVP.
To me, Burrow is Drew Brees. That is he is built like Drew Brees. He might be a little taller. I'm not saying they're the same height,
I think
the same
he plays
build.
with the chip on his
I think
shoulder.
he
like
plays,
Breeze did.
yes. And then literally Herbert is what people want was like Peyton Manning was. Herbert is literally built to play the quarterback position. If you want a perfect quarterback at a young age, you legitimately look at Justin Herbert and say, this guy's got the arm, he's got the ability to move, he's got great decision making. There's not a whole lot of flaws that you could really pick out of Justin Herbert.
Brady wins his first MVP the first year he has Randy Moss.
Yes, that's what I thought. He won his
07.
first one and with Randy Moss.
7 years in the league.
So Mahomes has the MVP on him already. He has 2 Super Bowl appearances with the possibility of going to another one this year. So 3-peating, not winning, but 3 consecutive Super Bowls with a very good chance of winning the Super Bowl. They are my Super Bowl pick.
Which 3 in a row Tom never did.
Yeah. So I
agree with what Bobby just said about Mahomes. He's got a great and underrated coach. I think
he has a great coach.
Is a phenomenal coach.
Yes. Oh, he is. He's a great. I mean, he arguably we've had this discussion I think a million times where he's one of the best coaches we've seen with our own eyeballs.
Oh yeah.
Are they both mirrors? Is Patrick a mirror to Tom and Andy a mirror to Bill?
No.
Why not?
I mean, Andy Reid's had a lot of success. He's been to multiple Super Bowls.
But I don't know. I don't even think that Andy Reid's had the talent that Bill Belichick
I wouldn't
has
say
had.
that because them Eagles teams were pretty good.
Yeah, but they never. Yeah, they had the best quarterback that he had. Andy Reid had in Philadelphia was
I mean,
Donovan McNabb.
Yeah, and they made the 4 straight NFC
Like,
championship
and
games.
I'm not arguing
and
that.
a Super Bowl in there.
I'm not.
I mean,
I'm not
McNabb was
arguing
a
that.
good quarterback.
I don't know if Andy Reid has had the talent that Bill Belichick had up until now. I think that Andy Reid's got a.
Oh, I'll say
Very,
the Chiefs
very-
are more talented than any Eagles team he had.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hold on.
But we also can't.
Offensively, not defensively.
But-
Some of them
but
Eagles
Andy-
defenses were insane.
People also have to realize they want to. I give you your credit for Andy Reid. I understand he's a great coach, but why is the knock on Patrick Mahomes? Andy Reid wasn't doing this with Alex Smith.
No, but he was still taking them to
He
the
was
playoffs.
but they weren't his. The Chiefs are in. Put Tyreek Hill on any other team. Are we still talking about Tyreek Hill being Tyreek Hill?
And we can't do that because
No,
it's the same thing
because
with Jamar
I believe,
Chase. You brought up.
because I believe Mahomes, like I've said a million times to you, Mahomes is making these players better. He's making them better. I don't care what anybody says. Joe Burrow makes Jamar Chase. Period. He makes his job a whole lot easier. Patrick Mahomes makes Travis Kelce's life. Tyreek. Does anybody know who Pringle is? Anybody having a single idea who Pringle was? This is the Tom Brady effect that Mahomes is coming with. No, Wes Welker was not a good receiver with the Dolphins. He became an elite receiver with Tom Brady. Okay, Randy Moss was an elite receiver with the Minnesota. Tom Brady put that man above and beyond. He was not putting up numbers like he did that single season.
So
But you could also argue the same thing that Randy brought the best out in Brady
No,
because Tom Brady didn't put up the numbers. Has never put up the numbers without having Randy Moss. He's never touched them numbers again.
Randy Moss has
Until
now
this year.
disappeared, and he's
Until
doing
this
it
year.
again. So
Huh?
he just had another 40 touchdowns and 5,300 yards
But
this
I'm
year.
saying the 50. He never hit that mark again. He's hit it once.
Well, not many quarterbacks hit 50 touchdowns.
unless you're Drew Brees,
And I don't even. He don't
I
even.
mean
hit-
5,000 yards.
Yeah.
5,000 yards.
Yeah.
The only one that came close to the 50 twice, I believe, was Manning, 55 and 49. And I think Mahomes has came close.
He's hit 50.
He's 50.
He's hit 50. I don't think
But
he
it's
came
the
close
thing is
second time.
it's so hard. I don't understand why people are pretty much saying Patrick Mahomes is only good because of Andy Reid. You can stick Patrick Mahomes wherever you want. He's going to be.
I don't hear people saying that.
Here, what,
I've heard
saying
people,
what?
and I've not heard people saying that Andy made Patrick. I haven't
No,
heard that.
no. But what the people are trying to say is Mahomes is loaded with talent.
He
That
is,
he
though.
isn't this without these guys.
Put
he's-
Tyreek Hill on the Green Bay Packers, and Tyreek Hill is still Tyreek Hill.
With Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah, but you say you want to change the narrative by taking him to another team. I gave you another team. Put him on the Cleveland Browns. He's probably not that good.
that's my point. But if you had Patrick Mahomes there with him, he's still doing what he does.
Right, but if you have Aaron Rodgers doing his, I feel if
He
he's
makes,
on the
I'm
Rams
saying-
team, he's
I'm
doing what he
saying
does.
He takes any receiver and turns him into a number one. That's what he does.
I think Tyreek Hill was a number one. I don't think he made Tyreek Hill. I think they help each other.
Tyreek Hill, I believe, played good under Smith, too.
What I'm saying, I'm not taking nothing. You guys are switching this like I'm taking something away from Tyreek Hill.
It sounds like you are.
I just told you, who's Byron Pringle?
He's nobody, and he's never going to be anybody.
You can look at his stats this year. He's better than whatever the Browns ran out there. He
There's
can
a
turn-
midget football team with better stats than the Browns. Okay,
He-
don't throw that out there like it's
he-
some kind of great
he,
thing.
He makes receivers better because he's that
He
type
made
of quarterback.
Pringle better.
So what about McCole Hartman?
What
about Robinson? What about
Tyreek
Robinson?
Hill is still going to be Tyreek Hill no matter where he's at. I will give you the other receivers. Yes, he's helping them. Of course, a good quarterback can make a bad receiver good.
But a good receiver
But
can also make a quarterback better.
it can.
Yes.
That's why I said they help each other.
They mesh good together.
They help each other. So I understand what you're saying, but I don't understand what you're coming up with this knock on Patrick because I've never heard a knock
you
on
just gotta
Patrick.
watch. You just gotta watch TikTok. Bob just did it here. That he doesn't think Mahomes is in that class with them three people. So yes, there are instances, Mooney, where people are saying Patrick Mahomes isn't as great as what they say he is.
I said I haven't heard people saying it. One guy you pointed out. Thank you. I need to see more proof than saying
I can
that.
literally go to TikTok where you don't want to
There
follow
are people
TikTok
that are
sports
talking
where
about
they're-
Patrick being the next great
Not anymore.
thing.
Not anymore.
I don't know how you say not
I
anymore.
think
He's still doing it
now
at a high
this year,
level.
I will agree with it. This year, because Mahomes isn't putting up the stats he has previous years, there is people saying, well, maybe his hot run's over. Maybe he's not. That has been said. But every quarterback has a down year where they're not performing. But I don't think it takes anything away from Mahomes. I still think Mahomes is a great quarterback.
Of course, yeah.
I think he's going to be
He would be the best quarterback out of this generation.
could be, yeah.
Now,
I mean, you've got a lot of good ones in there.
He would be the best
Burrow,
quarterback.
and-
He would be the best quarterback out of this generation.
going to this narrative about Herbert and Burrow and Mahomes.
Drew, so they talk bad about his brother on TikTok.
Oh, his dancing brother. Yeah, his dancing brother. No, I follow tons of podcast people that have this debate constantly, and there's only a few people that will agree. A lot of people say Mahomes is overrated, that he's
think so.
loaded with talent, and he has a great head coach. That if
Show
you
me-
move him,
show me
that
where
if
he's
you move him,
overrated, though.
that if you move him because of this year, they've taken some of his
He had a
weapons
bad year.
away, and they say he tends to try to do too much.
But that don't make him a bad quarterback overrated. That just
No.
makes him a competitor. And I feel like he has that competitiveness where he's like, I'm going to make a way for us to win. That's a good thing to have. It's also a bad thing to have because you do have a tendency to make more mistakes. But that's what makes him a good quarterback too, because he knows he's got to make plays.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't understand. That's where I'm trying to justify is the argument on.
I'm confused now. I didn't even know his stats, so I had to look this up. I'm baffled beyond belief right now. This man threw 66% of his passes completed, threw for 4,800 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 13 picks. Where did he have a downtime? Where? Because the previous year,
early in-
4,700.
Why they were saying this is because early in the year the Chiefs
He
weren't that
struggled.
good. They were 3-5, and that's because, like I said, I've always stated this, and I've said it. Mooney heard me say it. Their defense was bad.
It
so
was.
so Patrick Mahomes was trying to make every single possession count. He
Drew,
was trying
Lamar
to score.
Jackson sucks.
Lamar Jackson, fuck off. So we could probably throw Allen in there if they want to. I just think that the cream of the crop is them three guys. To me is probably going to be the cream of the crop for the next 10 years. Burrow's got a moxie that I don't think anybody in the league will match. Period.
I agree with that.
I think he will be that. It's sort of like wrestling. He's that attitude era. He is that guy that comes out with so much swag that you're not going to steer him in the wrong way. I don't think there's any stage that is too big for Joe Burrow.
Okay, let me ask something. This is what I've been trying to get to. So you're talking about these three guys will have better careers than Breeze, Mahomes, and Brady.
Tua.
Or Manning and Brady.
Drew said Tua.
Okay, so I'll agree with you over a span. If they play long enough, if they stay healthy, I believe yes, they'll have the better careers. They just will with the rules the way they are. Obviously, an extra game thrown in there. They're going to, even without the extra game, they're going to. Now, here's my question. I've looked this up. I've compared it to everybody talking about the greats: Brett Favre, Tom Brady, Dan Marino, John Elway. Doesn't matter. Peyton Manning, 17 years. No quarterback has matched what he did in 17 years, in the first 17 years of his career. No quarterback ever matched
Peyton
it.
Manning?
Yes. Nobody did what he did. Nobody put up the yards that he did, the touchdowns. Nobody ever did what
See,
he did.
I can't
what
argue
I'm,
with that.
What I'm saying is, do you think one of these guys has a chance to better that in their first 17?
I think Mahomes is already on the way.
Do you?
I mean,
I think Mahomes, I think Herbert, Burrow, they
they
all
bu-
started their careers off better than what Manning did. But
Manning
on the
didn't have
flip,
4,000 passing yards
No,
his very first year.
no, he didn't.
well,
No,
and
he
on the
didn't.
flip side of that,
He didn't have
I
back to
think
back.
on the flip side of that, I think all three of these receivers have better weapons starting out than what Manning had. And
Quarterbacks, you
and,
mean?
and
You said all three of these receivers have
oh
better
yeah, quarterbacks.
weapons.
I'm sorry, quarterbacks. And I was meaning receivers.
Well,
I was
Manning,
gonna go
yeah,
lead that.
they-
Manning
I get
had
what
Marvin
you're saying,
Harrison from the beginning. Marvin Harrison was there before Manning.
I know that, but I'm saying that's all he had. There was really no other talent that Peyton Manning. Look at the defense they had. Defense was absolutely horrendous.
in the beginning part, yeah.
Well, in most of his career.
Most of his career, yeah.
and-
He only
and-
had a good defense, maybe 5 years of his 17-year career.
And it wasn't even a top 10. He never had a top 10 defense.
No, he never did.
In Indianapolis.
Never. No.
I think these boys have a chance to do that. Now,
because of the help of their defenses.
To
Helping
help
them
with
out.
their defenses, I think all three teams have better defenses than what Peyton Manning had. And I think that these guys have more weapons than Manning had. Okay, you look at we'll do Burrow first. You know, he's got Chase, he's got Boyd, he's got Higgins, he's got a top running back in the league and Mixon. Okay, now you go to Mahomes, he's got Kelsey, he's got Tyreek Hill, he's got
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, so he's got and the Kansas City's defense has gotten better over the year. You know, I still think that defense is better than
Then
he
you
had.
go to Herbert, and he's got
You got a Herbert.
He's
Mike
got even
Williams.
more weapons.
Yeah, look at the weapons he's got. So you look at
Keenan
the
Allen.
weapons. You look at the
Who's their
weapons
tight
that
end
these
that they got
guys
out there?
have.
Who is it?
What did we say?
The Chargers. Who's their tight end again?
Oh shit!
Who was the guy? Yeah, I had a tip.
I know who it is.
Anyway,
Anyway, the talent that these guys have is by far better than what Manning had, hands down. When he first started. Hell, I think these guys have more talent now than what Manning had most of his career.
Well, they also have one thing on their side is it's predominantly throw the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, period. These guys are going to get to throw the ball 30 to 35 to 40 times a game. That's their game plan. So, and then, I mean, Herbert's thrown for 41 and 4,300 yards. Jared Cook, yeah.
Thanks, Brent.
He 4,000 yards back to back, rookie year and this year. If Burrow stays healthy, he's going to do the same thing next year. He'll be a mid 4,500 yard guy.
If his receivers stay healthy too.
Yeah.
Not just his healthy. But
Mahomes has proved that he's a 5,000 yard guy, and he's now damn near back to back
4,800
years.
yards
He almost
this year.
he damn near threw for back to back
5,000.
5,000.
Well, not
yards.
back to back. Last year was 4,700.
Oh, okay. It's his first year. He had 5,000. Yeah.
the 5,000.
So, I mean,
Actually, if you want to get down technical, his first year was the 5,000. Second year only threw 4,000.
well, technically his
Then he
first
went-
year he sat
right.
as a starter.
But first year starting was 5,000. Then he went 4,000. Then 4,700. Then 4,800. So man's just getting better.
yeah.
As
we'll
it goes
come
along.
back to that, Drew. Drew asked
About the
about
Steelers.
the Steelers situation and if they're going to draft
Draft
a
a
quarterback or
quarterback.
go free agency.
So we want to one thing we want to talk about. We've been holding off. We want to get it here. We're just at an hour and a half, maybe a little under. We want to talk about the coaching carousel that we got going on. We sort of want to bring in a take on where we think some of these coaches are going to go, and to see if you guys feel the same way when it comes to what the Dolphins, the Giants, the Raiders. The Raiders losing Mike Mayock now also. What these guys are going to do. So if we look, and then I mean there is a wild card. A lot of people also nobody knows what the Dallas Cowboys are going to do with Mike McCarthy. So there are plenty plenty carousels that could possibly we don't even know if it's the end of it. There could be more firings. We could see another one or two. We don't know. But we'll start off with the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans fire Collie. Or however you say Collie, however you say his last name. Are they doing that to sort of say, let's hire a guy Deshaun Watson wants? It's just I haven't seen this anywhere. I want to know this on my own aspect and everybody else's opinion.
I don't think Houston really wants to get rid of Watson.
That's what I'm saying. Are they now going to bring in a guy that Watson wants to hope that they don't have to go into the draft and take a quarterback? They got one waiting on him under contract. Are they trying to resurrect?
Who's the coach that just left? Flores.
Flores.
I think that's where he's going to go.
But does he only go there if they say Watson stays? Because there's better options for him if Watson doesn't stay.
He originally wanted Watson in Miami. He fought for Watson there and it didn't happen. I think that he sees talent there. I think if Watson is there, there's a huge chance that that's where he goes. If he knows Watson stays, I believe that there's a good opportunity, good chance that he goes.
So you think
there.
do you guys agree that they're maybe trying to resurrect that, or am I just delusional?
They aren't trying to resurrect shit. He wants out. That he feels that organization did not back him. He sat the whole year because the NFL didn't set him. The head coach sat him.
Yeah,
And
but he's
didn't
gone
get-
now.
And he didn't get any help from the organization to step in. I don't think he wants to be there. I think it's a bad taste in his mouth to be in Houston. I don't think it matters who comes to coach. He just wants out of Houston.
Well, he has stated that he wanted to retire a Texan. He never wanted to leave
He
Houston.
did. But after this year, with everything that's happened, I don't believe he wants to stay there.
He got paid, didn't he?
He did
And why the hell does he care?
because he wants to play.
But he got paid to sit and do nothing.
Doesn't matter. He
But then
wants
they're
to
gonna
play.
then they're gonna bring in then they're gonna cater to him, bring in the coach he wants. I mean, could it resurrect it?
I think it's because of the organization. It's not about who you're bringing in now. It's you didn't even back me. Why do I want to be here and play for you? Why do I want to win for
you? The
you?
thing is why do you back somebody with this background at this time then too?
Well, once
I mean, if
again,
they-
he
but
hasn't
they-
been found guilty of anything. He hasn't even been charged
Yes,
with
but
anything.
a lot of teams sit people for them kind of things. So
Not-
could
not
it could
your-
if he was cleared, would they have brought him back? Would he have played?
I don't know.
You know, if he was cleared, because we still don't know. That's the
Bobby said Watson likes touching that is male forbidden.
so that's one thing. Dolphins. What are the Dolphins
Jim Harbaugh.
secretly? Yeah, are they? Because we haven't heard anything on Jim Harbaugh. We have not heard anything on him. Are they just doing their due diligence?
I bet Brent kicks in on this. He said,
Are they
brought
just
up
doing?
Harbaugh.
Are they just doing their due diligence and just interviewing people with the likes of we've already got our guy sitting back here because we have not heard a Jim Harbaugh.
They're just
Rumor.
waiting for him to say
Yes.
something.
No, they're just doing their interviews because they have to,
Right, but they're saying as soon as Jim speaks up, we're taking him.
or they're saying we're just going to do these interviews, get these interviews out of the way. Really, we already want Jim Harbaugh and we're going to sign him. They already have a sort of a mutual agreement between the two in the background
I
that they're
can't
not talking
see
to
that.
nobody.
I can't. If they already mutually agreed, why not sign him? What's this?
Because I
playing
think
this
they
game for?
have to interview other people. I
They
think
do,
that's
'cause
the
Rooney
Rooney
rule.
rule. They
No, that's just
legitimate.
that's just interviewing one minority, not
Right,
other
so they
people.
have
Just
to,
one minority.
They have to interview other people. A minority is another person. So they
Okay.
can't just fire somebody and say we're hiring Jim. No, you have to still
All right.
put out other interviews.
But the reason why there's ties with Harbaugh there.
Yes, the owner is a Michigan grad. So and he's really 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 high on Jim Harbaugh. So who do you think goes there, Mooney, if it's not Jim Harbaugh?
Isaac said didn't the GM of Dolphins say that they wasn't taking Jim from Michigan? GM is a Michigan guy. I haven't heard that.
They don't have to take him if he wants to leave. I mean, you can't take
To
somebody.
be honest with you, I don't see Harbaugh leaving Michigan. I don't. With what he did with him this year, taking him where I think he's thirsty for more. We're going to see if he can take him further. I don't.
I agree. I think he's
left
got
the
unfinished
49ers
business.
after a Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah, but Michigan's his alma mater. Like this,
They
it's
let-
a
he-
big
I thought
deal
they
for
fired.
him.
I thought San Francisco fired him.
No,
for that
he
or
stepped
something.
away.
They forced him to, or something. It
Stepped
wasn't there,
away.
but there was something else behind the scenes with it. Why he did it? It wasn't just.
It could be. I don't really.
there
remember.
was something else with.
He's
that.
got unfinished business with Michigan,
Oh,
and
yeah, he's
that's
got
with
so
the
much of it.
championship. He's only he's been there how long? 5 years?
6 years.
6 years. He had one good season, which was this year.
Well, he's had better seasons. We got to stop saying he
Hold
doesn't
on.
have good
what
seasons.
I'm comparing it to, I'm not talking about a win-loss record. I'm talking about playoffs, talking about beating Ohio State. This was his first year. His 6th year, he finally did it. So he's got unfinished business. He's feeling like,
Well,
you know what?
some people
We can
also-
come in there next year and we can run the table. And I think he wants to prove that. I really do.
I don't trust Jim Harbaugh as far as you can throw him, so I don't think he stays in Michigan. I think if there's a better opportunity, he's out.
I don't. I think he stays.
Who do I think is the Dolphins' boy? I think that's Byron Leftwich's job.
What?
Right
So
there.
over Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I got him going to Jacksonville. I think that's where Byron Leftwich
I
goes.
think
is
I think he would
Jacksonville.
like to, but I think they're going to go after an experienced coach, and I think Byron will get his opportunity in Miami.
I think they're going to go with whoever wants Tua. You got to want Tua in order to take that job because
I feel like Byron could
the GM wants
really
him.
flourish with him.
Well, I mean
I really do.
he was sort of like Tua.
Exactly.
So I mean, it is a
Exactly.
possibility, but
And
Going
then he
back
was
home?
also there with David Garrard there, and he's kind of the same quarterback.
going back home, Jacksonville.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I think Jacksonville wants an experienced coach.
So
I
you think
really
he
do
stays
because
in
they
Florida
got
no matter
because
what?
they're so young. They want a leader to come in. They want a proven leader to come in. So I think he stays in Florida, but I think he goes to Miami. I think that's Miami's next head coach, and they're okay with a young guy coming in.
Bobby said NFL is easier for coaching. I'm assuming, and I would have to say it's easier to get talent in the NFL.
it's easier to build a team. You build a team
Yeah.
faster through the
In
NFL.
college, you got to entice people to want to come to your college. Where
We
Well,
had this debate. Remember in our first
yeah.
podcast, we were
Yeah.
talking about what was harder to win in a Super Bowl or a championship game. So
So
it goes back to that.
Denver, I believe is Dan Quinn.
That's definitely Dan Quinn. He's the best friends there. I don't even think that's a
agree
debate.
with
He's going.
My Miami take is I don't know why. I just think Miami runs with Kellen Moore. I think they
You
think he can unleash Tua's ability with his offensive play calling.
What I'm shocked about that we haven't seen anybody interviewing Josh Daniels.
I don't know if he wants another chance.
I'm shocked we haven't heard that. I really thought he would get a second
plus,
chance
I don't know
by
if-
now.
I agree with
Well,
you.
now they're out. Yeah, because I was going to say now they're out. So you could start hearing that
Because I
more.
could hear, I literally, where could I see Josh coaching? Chicago with
See,
Justin Fields.
I
could see him doing that.
I think Brian Flores is going to Chicago.
And that's, I can see that as well. I really can.
I think the one team that ultimately wants a veteran, they want a success guy already, is the New York Giants, because they just brought in Joe Judge with no success and it failed. So I don't think they're going to go back. I think you're going to see a shocking hire there. Someone like who's someone good to put there? Really, I mean, if you think about it, maybe someone like a Josh McDaniels. Or Todd
Mike
Bowles.
Shanahan?
Todd Bowles would be.
Mike Shanahan.
Oh, jeez.
Well, here's a
Todd
question.
Bowles would be another one who
Does
I think.
Mike Zimmer get another shot at a head coaching position? Does he
That's
take a
another-
coordinator one?
Yeah, that's another. I think he goes back to the NFL. He's too good of a coach not to.
He's a defensive coordinator somewhere.
I think
Zimmer's
he's
a
a
good coach.
defensive coordinator. I don't think he's a head coach.
Mike Zimmer, Vic Fangio could possibly be the two names that you see as Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator next year. Because I don't think they keep Dan Quinn. Unless Dan Quinn shocks the world and decides, I want to stay here, I have unfinished business also. Because he keeps saying that this is the most talent he's played with in a long time. So
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna throw you out there something. Minnesota's looking for a head coach, got rid of Mike Zimmer. And I think Anthony Lynn gets redemption and gets another team, gets another shot with Minnesota. He was the one that got fired for the Chargers last year and had a winning record. I believe he gets redemption, and I believe if it's not Minnesota, it might be the Giants for Anthony Lynn. I think he gets somewhere.
Isaac just brought up a good point, and I've kind of said this before. He said that he thinks Josh, if he wants the job, could be in Jacksonville, but he believes it has a deal to take over when Bill is done in New England. And I've said that.
I've heard that for years too. I heard that. That's
There's
why
no
he,
reason that
why
keeps
he
thinking-
ducked it. Wasn't that with he took the Lions job before Matt
No.
did? Matt Patricia did, and then he quit on him, and he went back to New England, and then Matt got the job.
who I don't remember.
He was
Isaac-
never in.
I'm pretty sure he ended up saying he was taking a
was it
job
the
somewhere, and then
Colts?
he pulled out.
Was it the Colts?
I don't think it was the Colts. It was somewhere else.
There was.
Who-
a
I
team.
thought
Isaac-
it was
I
Detroit.
do remember he agreed and then he backed out.
Right, and
before
he
it
went
started.
back, and that's when everybody started the whole rumor mill about, well, he's going to take over for Bill. That's why he's going back, and he's been there ever since.
I don't remember who it was. Isaac would know that. I don't remember.
There is a coach that we're that could be available, depending on what happens in Dallas with McCarthy.
I don't see him getting another chance anywhere. If he's fired from Dallas,
It was the Colts. With
Colts. That's what I
Daniels.
said.
Okay,
That's what I
Colts.
thought it was. Colts. That's. I ultimately don't believe Mike McCarthy is fired in Dallas. Jerry Jones is very loyal to these head coaches. He seems to keep them for too long for some odd reason. I mean, he kept Dave Campo for a few years too long. I don't
He
think
didn't have no problem getting rid of Jimmy.
that's because they didn't like each other.
Right.
So,
But you can't knock him for keeping McCarthy.
I
McCarthy-
absolutely
I can't, yes,
can.
I
But
can.
McCarthy has a
Absolutely.
12.
I can.
What they went 12-4 this year.
They did.
Yes.
You know how many teams would love to go 12-4 right now?
No,
Great.
They went 12-5.
Yeah.
12-5. You know how many teams
You know
would
how
love
many
to go 12-5?
teams wouldn't have liked to had 14 penalties in a playoff game to help them lose? A lot.
I see.
that
I
stems
see.
back to the coach.
Can you pin that all entirely on the coach?
Discipline. Yes. That's discipline. You
Okay,
are
we
not
talk about
disciplined
discipline.
enough.
We talk about discipline all the time. How many times we discipline our kids, or we were disciplined as a kid, and we still did whatever the hell we wanted? Now, how many times we got our ass whipped or whatever, we still did whatever.
Well, we
we
also
wanted.
didn't get $250,000, $300,000 ripped from us at a time
my-
either, which
but
could
no,
happen.
But my point is, they're full-grown men. You can discipline
Yes,
them all
but
you want.
you can. But
I just don't think that
Do
all
you see?
lies
Did you,
on McCarthy.
Did the
I'm
Bengals,
just saying
did
I
the
don't think it
Bengals
lies on
have
McCarthy.
14 penalties in a game this past weekend? No, because they're disciplined.
I think no, and I don't. I think I get what you're saying when it comes to that. But we also, as kids growing up, knew what the repercussions were if we made that mistake. everybody knows that if you break curfew, say as a little kid, oh, I'm getting my motherfucking ass whipped when I get home, so I'm terrified.
Yeah.
So
And in Dallas, there's no repercussions.
there's no accountability.
There's nobody-
so there
nothing.
is that is 100%.
Because McCarthy's trying to play best
we
friends
don't-
to everybody in the locker room.
Can you sit there 100% and say that we know that he does not do any kind of repercussions, guys, for that?
Show me where. What's he making them run laps? What's he
Well,
doing?
yeah, that's my point.
We don't.
We don't know if there is anything. You can't sit there and say factually that there is no discipline.
But what I can
because we
say-
don't know.
Okay, but I can factually say I'm not seeing any.
And we can all, because we see no
I'm not
progress
seeing
throughout
any.
the year. So 16 games, 17 games, we've seen the same Dallas Cowboys when it comes to penalties.
I just don't think you fire McCarthy after a 12-5 season. I think you address the
So what?
penalties. You
So
address
what?
the
So what
discipline, as
happens
you
if we
said.
go 12 wins again next year and we lose in a first round playoff? At some point, he could be Marty Schottenheimer to where he is a 10, 11, 12 win guy, but then has no success in a. So when do you fire somebody?
But but then you look at
I
that.
thought it was a bad hire 2 years ago.
But then you look at that on the flip side of that, when Marty Schottenheimer left,
Chargers.
the Chargers.
You mean fired?
Well, fired.
Fired.
Whatever. Same thing. He left, got fired.
You make it sound like he was like, I'm leaving. No, you had to.
They still haven't, even with the same talent after they fired him, with the same talent, they did no better. So at what point do you say, okay, it wasn't my coaches, maybe the players, maybe it was the quarterback, maybe it was this, maybe it was that.
Maybe it's the organization not bringing in.
And it could be, but that's my point.
Players,
like
coaches
with
don't
Dallas,
work.
With Dallas, before McCarthy was there, they had the same issues they have now.
Oh no bullshit. We were never this penalized.
I'm
with
not
Jason
talking about
Garrett.
penalized. I'm talking about with the win-loss and getting to the playoffs. So,
Inconsistencies, yes.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the penalty part. So at what point, I mean, you can't constantly say, if you're doing the same thing year in and year out, no matter what coach you have, you can't constantly say it's the coach. You can't.
Yeah, then
if you're not
getting the organization.
Yeah, if you're not getting results by changing your coach, you're getting the same results you got before you changed. Okay, maybe I got to stop changing coaches.
Because it's not about changing coaches. It's about, I understand people's argument when it comes to Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is not going to keep. Jerry Jones hires players, coaches. Why? Because they're soft-minded individuals. Jerry wants no backlash from his coach. Hint why Jimmy Johnson was released or fired, because there was backlash. Jimmy talked back. Or good organizations bring in and they take a step back. They say, let our coach coach. We hired you to coach. We own the place, so we'll give you the money you need to succeed. The Dallas Cowboys, as in Jerry Jones, can't sit back and say, do your job. He can't do it. He can't do it. So I do agree.
Jerry Jones' hands is in it too much.
Yes, that's where I say a lot of Dallas their success isn't going to happen until Jerry passes away. I don't wish that on him, but that is about the only time I think this franchise takes the steps that they need to become what they were.
I just like Isaac, he made a good point. He's talking about Cincinnati with Marvin Lewis. Cincinnati did it for years with Marvin Lewis. Marvin Lewis got us wins. He got us in the playoffs where we couldn't get over that hump. We couldn't. Finally, they fire him. We still got Andy Dalton, who we had with Marvin Lewis. We brought in Zach Taylor. Okay? Zach Taylor's first year in, Andy Dalton couldn't perform. We switched that. We keep our coach. We go and we get different talent. We go get a quarterback. We go get some different receivers. We get a little different talent. Now look where we are. His second season with those two. And I think last year we didn't play really well. We didn't have the. I don't think we had the.
You didn't have the quarterback the whole year.
Yeah, well, partially yes, but I still think it was also a cumulative of other things. The defense. I don't think. Zach Taylor went out this past offseason and brought in some defensive players to really help.
I do want to say this before you keep going. Kimo von Oelhoffen single-handedly killed you guys. When he took out Carson Palmer's knee,
I 100%.
you guys, I had you guys pick to make the Super Bowl that year.
And
Had that not happened, there's probability that you guys could have made Super Bowls.
I 100% agree
But
with
because
that.
of that.
And I've heard a lot of Pittsburgh fans say the same thing. If it hadn't been for Carson Palmer going down that game, we wouldn't have won. We
I
wouldn't
don't
have
think they would have.
And I agree with that. The Cincinnati's offense that year was great.
But I think
Carson Palmer
for
played
years,
great.
for the following years, I think you guys would have been. I don't think you would have gotten rid of Carson. I think you guys would have been competitive. I think you guys could have possibly been in more than one Super Bowl.
And one
but
thing that I hated about Cincinnati that hindered them for years is when it came to offseason free agency. We were not big in free agency. We would pick up people that was Okay. We never went out and picked out many big stars. Hell, we would always go pick out the freaking people that was problems, whether it be Pac-Man Jones, whether it be, all those guys. And now,
I'm
grant
with
you, they did perform well with, Pac-Man Jones played very well in Cincinnati. He did. Cedric Benson. Cedric Benson was in a lot of trouble. We went out and got him. He performed well. But we were never very active in free agent underneath Marvin Lewis. We never was. Now, Zach Taylor this year went out and picked up Hendricks. Went up. We got Hubbard. We've got people that put in place, so they improved. But I mean, to go back to the coaching, that we can't always point it on the coach. Okay, for instance, when you said in the playoff, New England and Bills, well, they've got Bill Belichick. Can't count him out. You can have the best coach in the world, but if these guys ain't out here executing what you've taught them all week and not performing, you're not going to win a football game. You're not. You can have a coach that's won every game and taught this guy over and over and over and over again, but if they go out there and do not perform and do not do what they were coached to do, they're not going to win.
So I'll agree with you to a point of, you can't always put on the coach. That's
at some point the players have to perform.
The emphasis on your word, always put it on the coach. You can't always put it on the coach, but sometimes you can.
Oh yeah,
and in this instance,
disagreement.
you can put it on McCarthy. In this instance, you can put it on McCarthy.
And why you put it on McCarthy, and I'm putting penalties to the side, is the play at the end of the game. This is why I think Mike McCarthy is getting the hatred or the could he be fired logo, is because the quarterback draw with 14 seconds to go. And then his remark at the end of the game is analytics said this was the best play to run.
But even you heard Romo saying that when they were doing it. That's the right call. That's what you do. Dak just didn't get down fast enough.
He called the play. He didn't say it was the right call. He said that's the play that they were going to run. And you can't, in my opinion, you can't put that on your quarterback to get down when you see a guy licking his chops while he's running. There comes a time where you have to, as a coach, you make the final decision and you say, I'm not doing this. I'm not putting it in Dak's hands to run that ball, because too many things can go wrong. We've seen it. He didn't get the ball back to the referee. He handed it to the center instead. Your tight end and your backup receiver are out there. They have no idea what the next play even is. Dak had stuck in his head that we're spiking this ball. Well, at some point, Dak has to look up and realize we don't even have enough time to snap this ball.
And that's the thing I brought up to him before. That's the thing a lot of people aren't saying and talking about is, when he ran up to the line, he did look at the board. Well, then the ref comes in, bumps into him, goes to grab the ball. He is looking down at the center the whole time. When the ref steps out of the way and now the center's set, he yells for the snap, and then he never looked back up at the clock. I know it doesn't matter because if he would have, he literally would have snapped the ball and would have been running around like a chicken with his head cut off, because nobody else was like, "What are we doing?"
Everybody else thought they were.
But what I'm saying is, he didn't even look. He didn't even look to see what was going on.
Drew said this could be Tony Romo's first job coaching in NFL. Was with Dallas.
If Tony Romo was ready, I would say go get him, but he's not ready, and I don't think he wants to leave that little comfy seat.
So you say, you listed just a couple errors that Dak did.
So I can name more.
Well, no, time out.
He played horrible that whole game.
But that's what I mean. So how can we pin this whole loss just
because
on
he didn't
McCarthy?
have the players ready? In my opinion, he's never been good at getting his players ready.
How can we sit and say that he didn't have? We don't know what they did in practice.
I'm not saying that
but that's where we get ready.
Pumped. At some point, you have to come in and you have to get your guys ready. As a head coach, you have to get your guys ready no matter what. I don't care what anybody says. You get your guys pumped. You get your guys ready. Yes, do the players have to buy into that? Yes. Are they? That's the thing is, are they buying into Mike McCarthy?
They have to. They went 12-5. If they're not buying into it, they don't go 12-5.
I think talent outweighs that. That talent, that team is talented enough to win 10 games without a head coach.
Well, if they're talented to win 10 games, then that talent should have overruled. And they should have won Sunday night, Sunday night, whenever they played.
No, because
not when you commit 14 penalties. You don't.
No, and then playoffs is a different animal. Other teams don't prepare in the regular season like they prepare for the playoffs. That's a totally different preparation.
See, and Drew said it. Romo said you run 10 yards. That's it. Dak ran 13. If he'd have stopped at the 10 yards and did what he was supposed to, that play would have been
No
it would have been
matter
fine.
no matter what the world says, it was the wrong play.
It was
to
the
run.
wrong play to run.
You should not
Don't- I
have.
don't-
You're at the 40-yard line with
If
14
anybody is-
seconds left
if
to go,
any-
and you run a quarterback sneak
With no timeouts.
or a quarterback draw with no timeouts.
It's a horrible
That's
play call.
stupid. That is absolutely stupid. Like, you just don't do that. It's not. It shouldn't even be in the fucking playbook at that
players
time.
don't. This is the other thing is when you see
Man, you
people
guys,
like
we should all just go be coaches since we know so much about this.
no, because there's also other things that we've seen. You've seen Micah Parsons jump offside. You see Randy Gregory bear hug an individual and throw him down, and nothing was said to him on the sidelines. No, he wasn't even pulled from the fucking game. Nothing was said to this dude. When people make mistakes, that's the one thing. Tom Brady drives me nuts. But there was one thing you'll never question with Tom Brady is his will to win and his leadership. He doesn't give a fuck what your name is. If you don't run the route that you were supposed to run at full speed, he's ripping your ass as you're walking off the field.
But you're talking about a player there. You're not talking about a coach. So why don't you put that back on Dak?
Put it back. What's Dak supposed to do? Run up to him and say something? No, Mike McCarthy should be accountable.
When Randy Gregory grabbed that guy and tackled him?
I'm using the example he just used. You don't see Dak get excited like that, like you do Tom Brady. We're comparing. You're talking about a quarterback.
But I'm not saying Dak Prescott is the leader of Tom Brady.
No, I'm not saying that. But my point is, where we were talking about coaches, and you're bringing in Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the quarterback. If you want to talk about somebody having fire and leadership, Dak needs to be doing that. He's the one that needs. Now, if we're talking
your head
about
coach
coaches,
needs to be doing that. Bill Belichick rips people's asses.
now, if you remember the recording, did you see what Bruce Arians did to number 26?
Exactly.
Smacking him back in the helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
not
the
every
point.
coach is like that. And most coaches wait to discipline you when you get off the field.
I don't think you need to.
You know, but
You
but I
make a
know-
mistake on the field, you come to the sideline, you're going to hear it right then and there because
And rightfully.
I want it corrected now so you don't do it again in the third quarter. So
Rightfully.
so McCarthy needs, but the problem is okay, here's what I wanted to say. McCarthy's not going to change. And this is why I say you put it on McCarthy. I said when they hired him, you should have never hired him. His track record in Green Bay speaks for itself.
He's never been a good coach.
He's an overrated coach. And he once again, he's over there in Green Bay. Who ran Green Bay? Aaron Rodgers.
He's never been a good. We're running out of time. He's never been a good coach.
He hasn't.
Ever.
They won the one Super Bowl with Dom Capers' defense and Aaron Rodgers. After that, what did they do? Nothing. He couldn't even get back. He couldn't even get back to the Super Bowl. And then Dallas is like, well, we're going to go get this proven
Green Bay
head coach. Proven what? What did he prove?
Well, that's because Jerry's seen a Super Bowl title
Exactly.
beside his name.
Exactly.
Same reason he went and got Barry Switzer because he was coming off a national championship.
Right.
Um,
But if you go
All
into
I'm
a game
saying
and you
is you
commit
can't
14 penalties, it's not you're not going to work.
But all I'm saying is Dallas's loss this past weekend is not set on McCarthy's shoulders alone.
The
It's a
players
cumulative.
didn't play.
It's
The
a
players
cumulative.
didn't show up like they should
But
have.
who
But
takes
that
the
goes
fall?
back to McCarthy. That goes back to McCarthy not having these guys ready,
are
not
you guys
being
winning
disciplined.
a playoff game this year with Marvin Lewis?
No.
At what
No.
point? Then if this is
But
your
that
argument,
goes-
at what point do you fire a head coach? Well, at what point? At what point do you admit that 2 years ago this was a reach in general? We've given you 2 years. You haven't. Last year, yeah. Well, injuries played a factor in all the penalties, is what they said. Well, we're going to be better because we're getting a lot of our key pieces back, so we're not going to have as many injuries.
How many times have you seen a coaching change? And when one year, their very first year, they take him off to the
This is
Super
his
Bowl.
second year though, so
To the Super, but second year, and he went 12-5.
He hasn't
How
shown
many-
improvement.
How many teams?
He
How
hasn't
many coaches?
improved.
How many coaches walk into the talent that Mike McCarthy walked into when he took over that team? It was not all his pieces were there. Mari Cooper was there. Dak Prescott was there. The offensive line was there. The running back was there. Tony Pollard was already there. The defense needed some work. He then decides, well, the defense didn't need work because they were a top 10 the year before he takes. He's the one who got rid of Chris Richard and everybody and says, well, I'm going to bring in Mike Nolan. Right there was the first red
That
flag.
was the first red
When he
flag
brought
right
in
there.
Mike
Mike
Nolan and he
Nolan.
took a top 10 defense to an all-time worst defense. There's one of his first hires, a bad hire. Then he turns around. Yes, he makes a good change. He brings in Dan Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
The penalties didn't get no better.
Nope.
We were in the bottom half of the league in penalties last year. You come into this year with all of your stars back, you're still in the bottom half of the penalties.
In penalties because you
just-
don't have discipline.
I do not put that loss on McCarthy.
It's not all on McCarthy,
It's
but
not.
at some point someone has to. So what do you do? What do you do if you're a GM? Do you say, well, I mean, what do we do? How do you create the fixes if the problem could very well lie in your head coach's hands?
Okay, you say that. You go back and let's say he hires another coach. He goes and he hires Bill Belichick. Let's just say, theoretically speaking, hires Bill Belichick. Next year they come out and they still have the penalty problem. We can't say that they don't. We can't say that they do.
Has Bill Belichick ever had a high penalized team in his career?
But he's coaching a team that's always high penalized. Is my point. I'm just saying.
No,
What if he
no,
does?
that's not true, because we were not penalized.
They've
This was
only
Jason
been the high
Garrett.
penalized team the last 2 years. You go beyond that, before they hired Mike McCarthy, they were not that penalized. They literally jumped when they hired Mike McCarthy.
The penalties started to come with Mike McCarthy. We were a pretty disciplined team.
Which
You
is,
guys are
which is
blaming
once
this
again why
whole
I can
thing
tell
on
you
McCarthy.
you can hang it on McCarthy. I understand what you're saying. The players did need to execute,
Yes.
but what I'm saying is that stems from the guy on the sideline is not disciplining that locker room.
Just like
he
certain
does
things-
not have
the
his
guy's
team
hand
in
to
order.
the face. That was stupidity. The face mask.
Did you
Stupidity.
see accountability after that?
Right.
Did they have the camera on the sideline the whole time for us to watch?
No, he never came out of the game. That's what we seen. He never came out of the game
They're
after
not
that
going to
penalty.
take their talent out of the game when it's in a playoff.
Their
game.
talent. He's a backup player. He was
And
a
then-
backup role player in Gallimore. He's not even our starting nose tackle.
Same with the guy that body slammed somebody. At the
Randy
end.
Gregory.
Yeah, body slammed somebody. Stupidity. Why? You didn't do that.
Did
Okay,
you see? Did
no,
you see?
okay,
Every, no,
did you
did you
see-
see every time they had a penalty? They actually showed Mike McCarthy's face on a lot of penalties. This is what he did every time.
Actually, probably looked like that because his hat was just forward.
Yeah, and then he literally looked at
Randy
the field
Gregory
like with
also-
a dead look, like he didn't even know what he was looking. He just literally looked off.
Randy Gregory makes that mistake towards the end of the game, correct? He body slams that guy.
But he had been called for penalties a couple times before that.
Yes. So it's like, at what point? I understand it's Randy Gregory. He is.
They're not going to take him out.
They're not. But at some point, you got to walk over and let this dude know, like, bro, we can't have these mental errors.
But we don't know what
They
the
weren't
coaches
meant-
were saying to them on the sidelines. We don't know we don't know what was said. We're just going by what we're seeing on TV.
I don't care what coaches
can
did. I
make
want to know
all-
what McCarthy did.
You
because he
can
didn't
make
do
all
anything.
speculation in the world, but we really don't know.
And then this ends it all. At the end of the game, in his press conference, Mike McCarthy bashed the refs.
Yeah, he put the blame on the refs.
He did not one time say my players needed to play better.
Not my offensive coordinator called the wrong. We called the wrong package. He didn't take
He
responsibility for
backed it with
anything. He
analytics.
bashed the refs.
And then what does his star quarterback come out and do? He bashes the refs also.
Mike McCarthy comes out and puts the blame on the refs. Dak Prescott comes out and congratulates the fans for throwing things at refs. This is what I'm talking about. No discipline in Dallas.
Yes.
You can't have your head coach say that and your star quarterback say that, and it's okay. No, you can't. You have got to be reprimanded for some shit like that.
And that's the kind of attitude Mike McCarthy brings. This is his teams. This is the attitude his teams have. We're the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to do what we want no matter what. You're going to talk about us tomorrow, Matt, whether we win or lose.
It's literally
Period.
like a middle finger to the entire NFL. I don't care what you guys think. Well, you do. You have to care, and you do have to have accountability.
To blame the refs for your shitty
Play calling.
your shitty coaching job and your players' shitty attempt to play the game of football
Such a cop out.
is a cop out.
It's
And
such
then
a
to say I will run that quarterback draw again if I have to, if that situation calls. He didn't even say Dak got down. All he said was refs. I feel like the refs were against us. So
Right there. Isaac said it too. And Isaac's a Patriots fan. You know when Bill is ripping the guys, you see it all the time.
they're gonna put
I
it
have
there.
never once seen Mike McCarthy rip into a player ever.
Before we go to anything,
Not even in Green Bay.
How often do we see these teams huddle? Like if the defense has a bad series, okay? Defense has a bad series, they give up a touchdown, like the Cowboys did at the very beginning of the game. How often do they show that sideline where the defensive coach has done gathered everybody there? Everybody's there.
They usually show that.
And they show them like, oh, they're
usually
going
do.
over stuff. You don't see that,
Especially
in
if they're
Dallas.
getting their ass ripped.
When you see Dak Prescott, this is my one knock against Dak. When he threw that pick, Dak didn't show no emotion about throwing that pick, and you didn't see Mike McCarthy over there talking to Dak like, "Hey man, bad play, bad error. Come on, let's build your pep up." No, he sat his fucking ass down there at the other end, looking up in the sky like Jesus is going to come down and help
That's
him,
it.
motherfucker.
Mouth wide
While
open,
Dak is
just literally
doing-
looking like.
Dak sits down on the bench like,
Brent said McCarthy didn't make Dak play like shit.
No, we know that.
We know that.
We know that.
That's the only argument is that I don't put the whole loss.
I'm not putting the whole loss, but someone has to take a. If these people like Brent want to sit and bash the Dallas Cowboys, what do? Because you guys ain't been one bit afraid since Saturday night or Sunday night to
I'll
just
tell
be
you
on
what,
every platform.
I know who you blame. You blame Zeke because he didn't run the ball enough. We'll put it on Zeke
He said
because that makes
he
sense.
was old.
Yeah, no, I'm well.
Grandpa, wasn't it?
Yeah, he is running like a grandpa. But when you only have 16 carries, I put a lot of the blame on Kellen Moore. I'm not a Kellen Moore backer. I never will be. But when you march down the field and you score, our best drive was when we ran the ball more often than we threw it, and we marched down and we ended up throwing that deep corner pass. It's a subject that we're gonna see for the next month on what the Dallas Cowboys do.
And we'll keep this updated.
We'll keep everything updated. We got some. we're gonna have to end up. Ultimately, we're gonna end up getting out of here. We've been on here about 2 hours.
Hey.
We're a little.
Let's see how many more touchdowns the Bengals get given this weekend.
Yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll go ahead with that. Thursday, we will be back on here live at 6:30 on Thursday. We're gonna bring in some UFC talk. We got a few things we want to talk about on UFC. We got a few other things we want to talk about. I don't think our show will go quite 2 hours, unless some wild and crazy things happen.
Never know about that.
We also need
in
to
the
get
next
into
2
this
days.
NBA MVP talk.
Yeah, we have
need to get
some
into
debate
this.
going with the MVP and the NBA. But I'm glad you guys came out. I'm super glad that we had our 7 to 10 viewers, man. Just keep it up with us, guys. We're trying our hardest. Once again, stay on our group page.
Hey, at one point we had like 15 to 16.
Stay on our group page and give
Yes.
us info to talk about. You guys are the key to our success. We're looking to bring Brent on. We want to bring Brent on soon. We want to bring on my brother Drew and my brother Tim Ash with wrestling. There are people we want on this show with us. So give us time. Let us get this going, guys. We need it. We need all the help we can get from you
Guys, get like the YouTube page. Share the YouTube page. Share it to your personal pages. Get your friends to share it. We want to get everybody on this. Eventually, we want to maybe do some lives from YouTube, but we want to put more content on there. We want you guys to see it, to view it. The TikTok page we got, throw it around there. Get it out there to people. Have them push it to people. Man, we want to get this as big as possible. It really is going to take you guys to help us do that. We can only do so much. You guys do footworks for us. We love you for it. That's what we need. Get us out there, man.
And to end it all, anybody else that wants to come on this show, we're not pushing it towards anybody. We're pushing it towards a lot of different. Bob Compton, any of you guys want to come on and just bullshit with us? Let it happen. But we're out of here, man. We're all in podcast. It's been here for 2 hours. We're loving it. We're gonna go ahead and get the hell out of here. I'm Mike Ash.
I'm John.
Big country.
Jeez.